perhaps it's used as a buzzword. Everybody wants to have impact.
Do you want to have impact?
Yes.
Okay.
So we like to use it.
Welcome everybody. Thanks for being back. Welcome to this new episode of the Unknown series, where every week we highlight the unknown, the new technologies, new startups that are all around us. And this week we highlight SolarMonkey. Pieter, welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks
Good
for being here. Yeah, cool that you're here. I think this episode I would like to learn from you how you set up SolarMonkey, what you guys do, the whole entrepreneurial journey. You even brought some nice slides with some anecdotes there. Also like to learn everything that is around SolarMonkey, organizations that support you, and kind of how you have been benefiting from them.
Yeah, perfect.
So,
love to tell more.
Cool. So, let's maybe start at the start. How does this SolarMonkey all happened, and maybe even more important, to give some context, kind of what do you guys do?
Yeah. So to start off with, what we do is we make software for solar panel installers that allows them to remotely design a solar panel system, calculate the energy yields, calculate the financial benefits, and also to generate a quote. And all of that is done within a minute or so. So comparing that to traditional methods where it might take hours, we basically help solar panel installers to be much more efficient. So that is pre-installation. We also monitor existing installations to optimize the performance. And
to talk about first the pre-installation kind of. So there's a proposal that all those solar panel installers and the companies they do for their customers. Yeah. They work on your software.
There is quite some science and quite some technology to making sure that you calculate properly how many solar panels you can fit on a roof using aerial imagery.
Yeah, they use Google Maps. I saw they send it to me and said, "Oh, you fit 27."
Yeah. So what we do is we use our own aerial imagery, and the difficulty with it is that it is never an image perfectly taken 90 degrees from above. So you have to take the perspective of the image into account. So there is a bit of calculations that you need to do to make sure that what you design remotely on an aerial image actually fits in practice. And I think that's one of the things that really distinguishes SolarMonkey, that what we design in our software, you have a very high certainty that it actually fits in practice as well.
And how come you use special algorithms for that? How come you're different?
So first of all, we use the accompanying data of the aerial image. I don't want to get too technical here, but we know the position of the airplane at the moment the image was taken. And we use that information to calculate the perspective of the image. Now, we also have the 3D data, so a 3D model of the location. And using these two data sources, we work out exactly how the panels will fit on the roof.
And this is done automatically?
So this is done automatically,
yeah. Because it all happens in 1 minute, you said?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and is this also helping to know kind of the yield or the
yeah, absolutely,
the efficiency?
So this is actually really how we started, and I'm sure we're going to talk more about that. But how we started is we were doing on-site measurements using a 360-degree camera, and using that information, we could calculate very exactly what the shading effects and the expected energy yield of those solar panels were going to be. Now, at the moment, we don't do any on-site measurements anymore, but we still use 3D models in order to calculate those influences. So we use the solar irradiance, which is obviously different in the southwest of the Netherlands or the northeast of the Netherlands.
Even there.
Yeah,
so much.
There's quite some difference. We use the type of panels and the type of inverters and other materials you use, but we also use these 3D models to calculate the effects of shading. So we know exactly that tree in your backyard, we know how high it is, and we know the effects on the energy yield of your solar panels, so that we can give a very reliable estimation of the yield.
Okay. How did you start? Behind your computer, developing the algorithms, went on the street? Like how did that go?
Yeah, basically what we developed is a methodology to guarantee the energy yield. So we would say, well, we calculated it so exactly that we can guarantee the energy yield together with 365 Sun, together with our partner installer. Mm. And that's how we started. And yeah, together with them, we were doing all the on-site measurements. But yeah, we did find out that it was very time consuming, and to be honest, it wasn't a very good business model to have to do all the on-site measurements.
Yeah, because I can imagine if you go to those people, you use that camera, and then suddenly shifting to a software company, that's quite a change in the whole business model, in the whole way you run the business. Or
yeah, well, it's quite a change, but at the time it was only us two plus maybe some freelancers. Mm-hmm. So I think this happens very often with early stage startups, that you start off with something and then you realize, well, actually, this was just a shit idea. Let's pivot and let's start doing something else. And yeah, I think you need that first year to really find out what you're going to do. And actually, the building of the business, I think, only started in the second year.
Cool. And this is how you go to customers, like
yes. So this is actually a very funny picture. So talking about sort of the initial entrepreneurial year, I mean, having left my job, the only car that I had was a Volkswagen T3 camper van that we used for surfing trips. The only car that Mels had was a Volvo Amazon from the 70s. So we used that to drive around the country. And well, we were on our way to visiting a potential client, and the car broke down. So Mels, being very good with his hands, was like, okay, I can fix this car within 10 minutes. So he took off his shirt and he crawled under the car in order to fix it. And then, a lady with the shop next to it came out and was like, ooh, what's going on here? What's this naked guy doing in front of my door? So she was so amazed, and she took a picture of us. And that was sort of quite typical of her first year of really sort of struggling, but at the same time having a lot of fun, trying to find out where we should have the business and how to actually start. Yeah,
cool. And you mentioned Vattenfall. Mm-hmm. With Get in the Ring, back in 2016, we organized an innovation challenge with Vattenfall to kind of see if there were startup technologies that could help Vattenfall improve their customer data. And you competed in that challenge?
So that was actually a very great way to get in touch with them. I think this was back in 2016, so quite early days. Yeah. So we did have our software online. It worked. I wouldn't say it was. It's not as far developed as we are now, obviously, but it was a great and fun way to get in touch with Vattenfall. And I think a couple of months later, we started collaborating. And at the moment, still they are a very good partner of ours. So we're very happy with the contact.
That's good to hear. Yeah,
thanks a lot.
And how did that piloting? Because in the beginning, was it like piloting, or was it straight away they said, well, we're going to be a customer? How did that process work?
Yeah, so it was first piloting, obviously. So especially for a company like Vattenfall, changing their process is quite a big thing, because you're implementing new software, your customer journey changes, but also the work that your employees do changes. Everybody has to be trained, everybody has to be happy with the new software. So it's quite a process to get it embedded.
Yeah. One of the things that I also saw, For Impact, and the Hague-based investor, they invested in your company a year ago. Yeah. They're all for impact. You're also based in The Hague. It's the impact city of Europe. What does this mean to you, impact?
So impact, is really a very how do you say? I wouldn't. Perhaps it's used as a buzzword. It's used very often. So everybody wants to have impact.
Do you want to have impact?
Yes.
Okay.
So we like to use that. So the way that we want to have impact, I mean, we have a mission statement that is on our wall that says making solar the world's leading power supply. Yeah. Now, obviously, with that mission statement, there is 1,000 things that you can do. But the way that we fill this in is that we say, well, what are we good at? We are good at developing and commercializing software. and we have to do something that makes us profitable and allows us to survive and grow. So that means selling it to business to solar installer companies. And well, the way that we help in this mission to make solar the world's leading power supply is just to make sure that the processes of all those software installers is as smooth and as efficient as possible. Now, in order to assess that impact, we have to look at the traditional way of selling solar panels and at the SolarMonkey way of selling solar panels. Well, the traditional way means, well, you got called by a client, so you call a solar panel installer, and he would say, right, let's make an appointment. I come and visit your house. He takes his tape measure. He measures your roof. He takes a piece of paper. He draws out how many solar panels he can fit on top. He drinks a cup of coffee with you. He returns to his office. He fills some stuff in his Excel model. He copies and pastes all those figures into his Word document, creates a quote, and altogether he spends maybe 5 hours.
Yeah, and then I call them back and I say I'm not happy with the amount, and they come back twice.
Yeah, well, for instance,
remeasure it. Yeah.
Well, and then imagine he sells 1 out of 6 quotes, which means he spends about 30 hours on acquisition of one installation. Yeah. Now we bring back that whole design process back to a couple of minutes. Now imagine the impact on a business that makes. So if your acquisition is 30% of the time you spend of your business, and we slash the time that is needed for acquisition, I mean, that has a very big impact. So it allows our clients to do sales in a completely different manner. It allows them to be much more price competitive, and it allows them to scale up much more quicker. Now, that is really the way that we want to have impact.
Yeah, but that's the impact you have on the clients. The impact that kind of directs to kind of a world with only solar energy. Yeah. Is that world kind of, is it accelerated through you? Or is it kind of, because maybe it's going to happen anyway, whether they take a lot of time in the proposal phase or not. But
well, yes, I mean,
just to be critical.
Yeah, no, but what we do is accelerating the process. So obviously the demand increases, which is dependent on a lot of different factors, of government regulations, the price of solar panels, the availability of the supply. There's like tons of different factors. But with increasing demand, the suppliers will have to find ways to answer to that demand. So yeah, we've seen an increase in the number of installers, but obviously with increasing demand, you also want to become more efficient in coping with that demand and actually delivering those solar panel installations. Well, that's where we come in. So we accelerate the solar panel market by making this process more efficient.
Yeah, cool. I think reflecting on this, nice to hear the whole journey of SolarMonkey. Maybe I'm thinking, but also around all the organizations that you've worked with, we've learned, and I think that looking at that, The Hague seems as a good city for you to be located. I think ending on that, I want to thank you for joining this podcast. Everybody watching, thanks for joining the podcast. One additional thing that's nice to say that with the municipality of The Hague, with Impact City, we've recently launched an impact competition for companies, I think, like SolarMonkey, maybe a little bit more early stage, in the beginning of their whole growth phase, supporting those organizations European-wide, with cities like The Hague, but also Berlin, Oslo, impact cities in Europe. And we wanna help to scale those companies by connecting them to partners like we did with SolarMonkey and Vattenfall. So if you're interested, take a look at that. I think the links are in the show notes. For now, thanks Jan-Pieter.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, cool. And like to see you next time. Thanks.